Okay. Hello and welcome to the MMA Split. I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
And we don't really have that much to talk about in terms of upcoming fights. We've had Christmas off. Yeah, nothing's been happening apart from Ryzen.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it because I was doing other things on here. What can I say?
I've only watched the highlights of the Horiguchi fight, and when I say highlights, like maybe 5 seconds of that. But you know, still Horiguchi worth talking about. Avenges his loss. Now the Ryzen bantamweight title holder. He's a guy that really everyone should be tuning in to fight. I'm going to go back and watch that one straight after this. I'm going to atone for that. What about you?
I'm going to watch it. I've obviously seen Horiguchi when he fought in the UFC. Obviously, he fought DJ.
So yeah, one of the things he's kind of famous for in the UFC is in being this amazing world-class bantamweight. It's for having the latest submission loss that there ever will be. It was the last second of a 5-round fight when he tapped. So unfortunately, that's one of those records you can't break. Just can't be broken.
Not the latest finish. Although, one funny enough, is the post-awarded finish.
We talked about this before. We talked about this. Yeah.
Is it a TKO though, or is it a submission?
That was a 3-round fight. So that
okay.
Submission came in. Yeah, you can say that came in 15 minutes and 1 second, but this one came in 24 minutes 59 seconds.
I got you.
That will never get beat, unless the whole world goes mad and they start doing 6-round fights. That will never get beat.
Or we get like a Joanna Whaley rematch, and they're just like no rounds to the death. To the death.
Yeah, do it like Sakuraba against Hoist Gracie. We're just going to go until I'm too tired, and then we're going to call it a draw. You know.
Yeah, but he got to avenge that draw, didn't he? He avenged that draw. So yeah, we've had Christmas off. I had a nice Christmas. I went to see my dad. He stayed in Barcelona. New Year's was shit. I think your New Year's was probably a little bit pants as well.
Well, we got a new puppy, so he doesn't like fireworks. So as you can imagine, yeah, it's not fun having a new puppy at New Year's. Don't get a puppy. Easy lesson. I've learned. Won't do it again. Never.
Sensible advice. Sensible advice.
But what we are going to talk about today is walkouts. Our favorite walkouts, worst walkouts,
our least favorite walkouts.
Yeah.
Walkouts that should be shit, but kind of get away with it because there's just something about the guy.
Oh yeah. There's some weird ones on there. Like one of my top walkouts when I try to research this list came up in a lot of people's worst walkouts. But what we haven't prepped, what we haven't talked about, what we want to do a little freeform on the camera is what makes a good walkout, what makes a shit walkout. You know, why are our picks our picks?
Yeah. And what is it that somebody's trying to accomplish with a walkout? Are they trying to accomplish anything at all?
Are they trying to get to the cage?
That's a good question.
They probably are, usually. Yeah.
Maybe some guys are just seeing themselves and they're just like, I just want an extra minute. If I dance around, I do some loop-to-loops, some things happen over here, some choreographers start coming in, I hug some fans, it's just an extra minute.
Well, I don't know how pertinent it is today, but there was like a study done at some point. I remember reading about this a while back, and I'm very fudgy on the details. But a psychologist was saying that actually the longer you make your walkout, the bigger effect it has on it. And from a study they did, that the guy with the longest walkout or the girl with the longest walkout typically won the fight, just playing mind games before.
That's interesting.
So, you know, there is a science to this. This isn't just a fluff episode.
Well,
it's all about important stuff.
It's also worth mentioning, though, that MMA, and particularly the UFC, which we are going to focus this conversation on, this isn't boxing. Okay. Like, boxing has got to the point where you get some ring entrances that are just different level. You know, I mean, one of my all-time favorites was Trinidad when he fought Bernard Hopkins. This is, I think, 2001. And it's literally a parade float that comes through with 4 or 5 other people dancing. He's wearing, like, a top hat. They play a whole set before he gets to the ring. All the while, you've got Bernard Hopkins standing there wearing what I think in 2001 was considered a pretty cool, like, executioner suit. His name is the Executioner, but he really looks like he's just dressed up as a gimp waiting for the person to come into the ring. And the way that Trinidad's backup dancers address it all looks like something out of the YMCA video. It's really odd. MMA's tended to be a little bit more reserved. And I don't know about you.
Well, there's a reason for that. you know, in boxing you have your promoters and everything, but there's no one high enough up in charge that can tell Tyson Fury, you're not going to walk out in a luchador mask. That's fucking stupid. You can do what you want when you're the fucking guy. There's no Dana White. There's no Scott Coker. No one's telling you like, no, I don't like that idea. That's fucking dumb. You can't do that with my product because it's no one's product. Every fight is its own thing, its own event. Boxing has a lot more leeway because you don't have, you know, the Grinch Dana White shooting down every great idea. Although he did, he said Mickey Gall couldn't walk out, so oh Mickey, you're so fine. And then the internet went, no, we're going to have that one. And Dana White, he yielded. He doesn't do a lot.
He's yielded a couple of times, but generally in the UFC, we have seen much more reserved walkouts. Guys, they have their song, they might do a little dance or, you know, walk out looking menacing, but it's generally very stripped back and bare bones. And certainly what I think is going to become very clear in our lists is most of the worst walkouts or the worst examples of a singular walkout are when people try to do a little bit too much and it fails.
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
Absolutely. I mean, right, let's just get straight into it. Okay. Rather than just coming in naked here, I want you to give me one of your favorite walkouts. I want you to tell me why it's a great walkout. Then we can start picking apart what is and isn't a good walkout.
Okay. Well, I think, to be honest, we should start by saying what is a good walkout. And for me, it comes down to 4 different things that you're trying to accomplish, right?
You've got categories.
No, I've got criteria, and then my favorite walkouts will meet either one of these criteria very strongly or hit across all 4 criteria. Very few will ever hit all 4. But for me, what are you trying to do with the walkout, right? You're either trying to get yourself psyched up into a certain mental state where you feel you perform best. You're trying to psych out your opponent or play mind games with your opponent and affect their performance rather than try and affect. So one's obviously you trying to get the best out of yourself. The other one is getting your opponents into a poor state of mind. I think showmanship would be the third one. So a certain element of entertainment, a certain element of showmanship, style, all that kind of stuff. Whether it be that you dance, whether it be that
so is the first one like the 2 sides to it, psyching out your opponent and also mentally preparing yourself, or is that 2 separate criteria?
For me, they're 2 separate criteria.
2 separate criteria, okay.
Because
so
for some
being
guys,
ready, psyching the other guy out, having some fun with it.
Yeah, or some style, or some presence, or some aura. You know, so for example,
making yourself marketable.
Yeah, so for example,
the next pay-per-view.
Conor McGregor, for example, would be a great job. I don't think that his walkout is done in a way to try and psych out his opponent. I think his walkout is very much his grand entrance for his epic moment.
Well, unless you've got some of his later ones on the list, the only Conor McGregor ones I want to talk to is pre-millionaire walk nonsense, back when it was always Biggie. But
okay. Well, that would be a good example. And for me, the walkout isn't just the song. The walkout is everything that happens, how you present yourself, how you carry yourself from the moment you come out of your onto camera walking out to the moment that you're in the octagon being introduced. That for me is the walkout. And for Conor McGregor, something like listening to the Notorious B.I.G., for me, that's not something that he's doing to psych anybody else out. That's himself getting into that state of mind. That would be check 1. Check 2 would be more an example of doing something like a Dan Hooker playing Dustin Poirier's former walkout song when he's about to fight him.
Did he do that?
Yeah, against his fight.
What
so
song?
Dustin Poirier, I don't know who the musician is, but Dustin Poirier in his early career walked out to a musician who is like a local Louisiana guy. And it's like not very well known unless you're in Louisiana. But like DC talks about this guy, and obviously Dustin Poirier now walks out to Babe It Costs to Be the Boss by James Brown.
Yeah.
But when he fought Dan Hooker, who's not avert to playing a few mind games before a fight, he walked out to his previous song. Something like a Diego Sanchez, trying to be menacing, trying to be intimidating, anything that looks like it's aimed at the opponent to try and get them nervous, whether it's
like
delaying.
Diego Sanchez, I don't feel like he puts that on. I just feel like that's just him being him.
But it still comes into the walkout in general.
Okay.
So whether or not it's intentional or not, it's what's being accomplished. The third one is your showmanship and your presence and your style, you know, that memorability. You think like Darren Till walking out to Sweet Caroline in Liverpool kind of thing. Or, you know, Joanna's infamous walkouts when she was the champion, where there's just something, you know, she's doing all the motions and stuff like that. And she'd be a good example of hitting on all three of the first categories.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, having fun with it, mean mugging people, looking ready, looking scary.
Yeah.
What's the fourth category?
Fourth category is something, I don't know, it's something that is, I don't know how to quite define it. Uniqueness, I guess, would be the best way to put it. So it's not necessarily something that accomplishes any other goal.
Wait. So can we say like being iconic?
I don't want to say iconic, because iconic, I don't want to get confused with what I'm going to talk about in the third category. This would be more like, I'll tell you what it would be like: identifiable, uniqueness, synonymous. So that would be a category of like,
Being iconic.
well, like associated. So for example, Frankie Edgar walking out to the same song by Biggie Smalls, Michael Bisping walking out to Blur's Track 2. Things that they're not necessarily iconic. They're not epic when you watch it. It's not this great moment where
No, sorry. Those two examples are both iconic for me. I gotta be honest.
We got different definitions.
Frankie Edgar running out to Biggie Smalls, and he's only half of that. He's small. I love that he walks out of Biggie, short as he is, kicking the door, absolute banger. You only ever get to hear about 20 seconds of it because the man really does run. We were talking a little bit about the walkouts before, so I've got a soft spot for guys that run out. You know, the Matt Browns, the DCs, the Frankie Edgars.
Real wrestling thing, isn't it?
I don't know necessarily, because Bisping runs as well. Bisping has to run. I don't know if that song's even 2 minutes long. So when they do when he was champion and they did the big, long, grand like entrances, you know, he really had to hustle to get down there before the song ended, because no one wants to spend like 30 seconds of silence before the cage, or worse, they loop it back around and play the start of the song again.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, man. Frankie Edgar and sorry, what was the second example you brought up? Oh, and Bisping. I get chills when when I rewatch Bisping. Song 2 comes on.
But I feel that's kind of like synonymousness. It's you identify. That's what the fourth category is. It's being able. I've done a really bad job.
Signature.
Signature. Yeah.
Okay.
I've done a terrible job of explaining this. Signature. You hear that, and it's completely associated with that person's walkout. And that person might not do anything that's related to mental warfare. They might not really be psyching themselves up. But it's just what you associate. It's what happens.
And I assume part of that is going to be that specific walkout as well. So the magnitude of the event, the caliber of the fight, the importance of it.
Yeah. I think for me, signature would be more like associated. That's the same thing that you walk out every single song. I guess
he's trying to stop me looping back around to the word iconic. I was trying to snatch that one back.
I know you are. Okay, I could say 5 categories as well, because the fifth one would be singularly memorable. So one in particular walkout that just stands out.
What would be another way to say that, Matt?
I don't know. Iconic. I can't. Okay, we can't have 3 different categories that are different versions of iconic.
I haven't got categories. I've just gone on a case by case basis.
Yeah, I've made this overly complicated with the categories.
Yeah. No. You know, that was a good way to get started off, because I went to let's pick a song, and then I want you to argue why it's a good walkout song, and from there we could try and extrapolate what a good walkout song was.
Okay.
Because effectively, honestly, what is a walkout supposed to achieve? You're supposed to get to the cage. It's so much more, obviously. Although one of mine pretty much is just a man walking out to a cage. But let's go with the categories.
Okay.
I don't want to say that those aren't right. I think those are good categories. I haven't really tried to think about it too much like that. I think also I only prepared a worst walkouts. I thought we were just doing worst walkouts today. It didn't occur to me that'd be like a 20-minute episode. Of course, we're going to do best walkouts as well. So my best walkouts list is kind of on the side.
Here's the cool thing. and this is what I sort of wanted to touch on at the beginning. Most of the best walkouts that we're going to talk about, simplicity is going to be key for a lot of these. Nobody is trying too hard. Nobody is trying to do anything over the top. When that happens, you end up on the worst walkout list 9 times out of 10, as we're going to be getting into. And I just wanted to give some appreciation.
Twice for the same guy.
I just wanted to give some appreciation because we obviously started this conversation because of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's walking out to Wonderboy by Tenacious D. So if we were going to talk about that, we have to put that on the list of best walkouts. Now, this is the one that's
the one that I have seen coming up on other people's worst walkouts.
Total nonsense.
For shame.
Total
For
nonsense.
shame.
Total nonsense. Okay. Point number 1. Let's look at my categories, which I'm going to try and find a better name.
We're starting with Wonderboy.
We're starting with Wonderboy. We're starting with Wonderboy.
He was on both lists for best.
Yeah. Arguably my favorite. Maybe my favorite. Certainly my favorite in one category, hands down. So
can I add a category?
Go for it.
Can it be when they pick a song that's so good when they can't help themselves but start mouthing along and lip syncing at the start of the chorus? Because Wonderboy tops that one. Every time it comes out, looking like just the way Wonderboy does this big, beaming, smiley, happy ball of martial arts.
Dude.
Wonderboy. And, you know, he can't help but sing along.
Enthusiasm.
This lad doesn't miss a trick.
Enthusiasm. We're going to create another category. We've got enthusiasm. So we've got self-preparation, opponent preparation,
having fun,
iconicness and showmanship. Sorry, showmanship, we'll say. Level of iconicness, signature, and enthusiasm.
Okay.
So here's where Wonderboy hits. Enthusiasm, 100%. That guy is into his walkout song every single time he walks out.
That guy loves fight.
Yeah, he loves to fight. And this is where it hits category number 1. He has been the Wonderboy his entire career. And that song is the song that reminds him of what he loves about this, why he fights, and it puts him in the perfect headspace. He's not trying to psych anybody else out. This isn't category.
Well, no, category 2. Check. This guy just walked out to Tenacious D. You can't lose to this guy. How can you get knocked out with this guy? He just walked out to Tenacious D. He sang along on the high parts. You can't lose to this guy. How can you go look your dad in the face after you lose to this guy? Category 2, check. Big ass check. Done.
It's not a check for me, but he's hitting category 1. He's hitting signature. He's hitting enthusiasm. I just don't know if it's iconic because even though it's incredibly fun to watch, it's not epic. And that's fine because that's not the type of fighter that he is in the cage. What he's trying to do is put himself in the mindset that it's just another fight like he's had every single other day of his career, every other time he's trained at the gym. And that's how he performs best. So it's not just a great song. It's not just a song that I enjoy. It's not just a song that puts me in a good mood every time I hear it when he's walking out. It's a song that puts the fighter in the best possible mood. And you know what? I will say for iconicness that he qualifies. Yeah. Because in terms of, it's not just that it's synonymous, but yeah, it's him every single time.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, one more thing. I don't think anybody listens to that song other than when Wonderboy walks out to the cage.
No, but I re-listened to it. I re-listened to that song for about 2 or 3 days after Wonderboy fights because it reminds me.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, the guy really makes this his own, you know.
And it's part of his branding. It's
going to tick every box there apart from uniquely, like, remember, it's not epic. The guy, you know, if he'd won a title or something, you know, if he'd beaten T-Wood one of those 2 times, then I think maybe we can talk about it like that. But he's just going to go down as a fighter's fighter, a fan favorite. He's at the end of his career. This is his last run, and there's a bit of a logjam ahead of him at 170. So I don't know we're ever going to get to see him fight for the title again. But we're
going to hear Wonderboy a few more times.
Yeah, and definitely one of the best walkouts for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? Even if we didn't like it, it doesn't matter because he's still having a good time every time he walks out to it.
That's true.
On that same list, for very similar reasons, Chang Sung-jun walking out to Zombie by the Cranberries.
Yeah.
It's perfect. He's a Korean zombie. The song's called Zombie.
Great
fucking song. And okay, here's the thing. I don't think it hits on that many things. I don't really think Chan Sung Jung is the kind of guy that needs a song to get him in a certain mental health.
Yeah,
space.
Category
he's
one
just
is
having a bit of
just
fun with it.
default check because he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
He's the Korean zombie.
But he's checking enthusiasm. He's always got a bit of a grin when it comes on. He loves it. And
it's intimidating.
It's his signature song.
No one gets an easy fight against this guy. All the boxes. He's had classic fights, fights that people will remember forever. When you go on Fight Pass, they don't pay for the licenses, so you're not going to be able to watch these. But lie, beg, cheat, steal, whatever you need to do to get like authentic copies of his like fights against Leonard Garcia, Jose Aldo. The Yair Rodriguez one is a heartbreaker, but it's a pretty good fight. Just go back and watch all of his fights. Put Fight Pass on and then just play the Cranberries next to it, just so you get that one song right, because you need to. Yeah. It's important.
Whether or not his Walkout song was particularly intimidating, there's something very intimidating about having somebody who is as stone cold faced as he would be walking out after his little grin, and throughout the whole process going into the octagon whilst also listening to a song by the Cranberries.
Yeah, I think having some lads from Limerick screaming zombie in your face is very intimidating. That is box 2 checked heartily. You came up with that category. You don't seem like checking these boxes. I'm a big category 2 fan. Tick.
Well, for me, this is an example where he's just in 2 of these categories. He just ticks so highly.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a standout in these categories. And again, we're going to go back to the theme. He's not doing anything stupid. He's just picked a song that works for him. Signature works really well. I don't think it really matters in the psychological state. I think he's just one of those guys that's always ready to fight. But it's anonymous, and again, nothing over the top. And that's what we love about it.
That is a great one. I want to do something from my list because I worry there's going to be a lot of overlap. I don't want to get squeezed.
No, I was about to say chuck it over.
Hell yeah.
Because my notes are not in existence. I just kind of thought this up as we were chatting.
Yeah. So when I did my worst list, I wasn't thinking about particular walkouts. I was just thinking in general, some of the fighters that you associate with like bad songs or bad walkouts.
We're switching on to the worst.
No. I'm coming back. I'm looping around.
Got it.
No, Your Honor is pertinent. Give me time. I will come back on.
No, that's what I was going to say, but do what you want. But
with the good list, we'd already kind of spoken a little bit about what we're going to do and how I hadn't really prepared enough. So I've actually got some specific walkouts, specific events. So if I remember the event, UFC 189, Robbie Lawler defending for the first time his welterweight belt against Rory McDonald. And he walks out to Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming. This is an absolute banger. One of my favorite songs. And just you want to tick enthusiasm, you need to tick that one twice.
100%. And box number 1 in terms of mental preparation. Because
Robbie fights loose.
Once he became the champ, he had a swagger about him, and it was represented with that song and everything that came with it, and that whole change of attitude that led to the best 2 fights of his career. So
2 of the best fights of anyone's career, 2 of the best fights in MMA.
It's not just a great song, it's a song that actually represented a key change in his performances.
Yeah. Well, no, he had a good run before he started walking out to that one.
His attitude, his swagger, his
that was a real statement win. When you talk about Robbie Lawler, it's hard not to talk about the second McDonald fight. Just
iconic as well, because let's face it, that is one of the greatest fights of all time. Yeah. If you walk out to a song like that before an all-time great fight, 100% you're ticking the box. And the best part is, Robbie Lawler is one of the most intimidating human beings on the planet. When he's walking out, box number 2, is he freaking you the fuck out? Hell yeah.
Me, yeah, a little bit. Rory McDonald, no. I can't check box 2 on this one occasion, because I don't know if Rory McDonald understands what fear is.
I think he learned what fear is during that fight.
He learned what a broken nose is 100 times over. Jesus Christ. Best fight ever. It's my favorite fight ever. Wow. I've talked about this before on this podcast. We don't need to go on about the fight. We're just going to concentrate on the walkouts. But that was top of my list.
Good one to have at the top of your list.
I'm going to go a little out of order here because I didn't put my second favorite second. Nick Diaz walked out to the sun a few times, I believe, but I'm gonna focus on the BJ Penn fight when he walked out to the Deftones. Just Nick Diaz walking out in his jeans, thinking that everyone else is a dickhead for putting fancy shorts on and tracksuits and stuff just to do the walkout. Walks out to a great Deftones track. One of his great wins. His return to the UFC, beating BJ Penn, who's an absolute legend, beating him handedly. Great fucking walkout. Box 5 ticked.
Yeah.
Box 4 ticked. Box 3, did he have fun with it? I don't think we should talk about box 3 because Nick might hear this at some point, and that terrifies me. So we're just going to put box 3 away. He doesn't need to have fun. He's a fighter. Box 2 ticked. Nick Diaz. I see his name on the contract. I piss myself. I think every fighter would. That guy is more than just a fighter. That guy is insane.
Well, also, you feel that the moment he's walking out. Like, there's an intimidation factor about the human being.
Blows off of him.
Yeah. Just
box 1, box 2 ticked. Well, box 1, he always has ticked. He goes and does his grocery shopping with box 1 ticked. Just, I'm mentally ready. No one's going to fuck with me today. I'm going to buy some oranges. Ticked. Always ticked. It's never not ticked. So box 3 you put away. He got all 4. That's great.
Strong choice, very strong choice. And intimidating human being all the way through. If you've got your Anderson Silvas, who seem like the nicest guy in the world until the bell starts, Nick Diaz is the kind of person that you see death staring.
There are no bells in his world. All right? Judges may or may not be there. Everything is a fight. Always tick. Box 1 tick.
Yeah.
Crazy guy.
And again, on the theme, nothing over the top. Very simple. There is one example that I think we've got in one situation where a guy did something over the top and choreographed and it worked. Is he? Yeah. And we'll get to that. But next on your list, I want to find out what other ones you have.
Are you relevant? All right. Okay. So I'm going to be a McGregor fan now, but back in the day I was. Back then my best friend at the time was, quite a racist black guy. And any white guy with a beard, Josh, this guy looks exactly like you.
Was he a racist black guy racist towards white people, or was he a racist black guy racist towards other black people?
He was black mixed race. He was Filipino, and I think his dad was from Bahrain. So kind of like that Arabian black. But no, he wasn't like openly racist about stuff. But there would be a lot of like, you goddamn white people. And any white guy with a beard, Josh, I saw a guy that looks exactly like you. He doesn't look anything like me. So my entrance into UFC was when Conor McGregor was coming in. And my buddy Chris used to watch it avidly. He was like, Josh, you got to check this guy out. He's Irish. I'm part Irish. He looks exactly like you. You are you. He doesn't look anything like me. Even if I got a stupid ass gorilla tattoo across my chest, we wouldn't look anything alike. But that's how I got into UFC. So Conor McGregor, when he used to walk out to Biggie, I think it just used to give me chills because he was such an exciting fighter back then. He didn't seem to be half the dickhead that he is now. I got to put it on the list.
We just confirm that your 2 choices happen to both be from UFC 189.
Okay, so
which is your first
no. Conor McGregor did not walk out to Biggie at UFC 189. Okay. They flew in Sinead O'Connor and he walked out to the Foggy Jew.
Okay.
So no, one of my picks is from UFC 189. McGregor has walked out to it subsequently and before that, but he did fight on that card. I'll give you that much.
It's a good choice. I'll say with McGregor as well. He takes. This is an example of somebody where it doesn't really matter what song he walks out to. Although certainly Biggie would be the only one that you could say is a signature one.
Yeah.
He's getting himself in the mode of being the notorious Conor McGregor. He's already gone on mental warfare on his opponent beforehand and is just making the whole process last a little bit longer. What were you saying about that thing where they worked out that a psychologist?
Yeah, the longer the walkout, the better your chances of winning the fight.
Yeah, well, Conor McGregor's ticking that box. You've got to wait a minute and a half while the bloody, bagpipes.
Well, no. To be honest, right. So when it does Foggy Jew, I haven't put that on my list. I think that's a very iconic walkout for him. It's a one-time thing. I felt like I was already. If I'm going to put him on, I'm going to put him on for Biggie because it's the Notorious walking out to the Notorious,
and that would be signature as well.
Yeah. You know, it's not something he does every fight. He did it a lot earlier on in his career, and he's done it a handful of times in the UFC. But for me, yeah, that's an exciting. That was always an exciting one. Similarly, like my next would be Cowboy Cerrone, Walking Out to Kid Rock. It's a song I hate, but just persistence is key sometimes. You know, signature, take that one,
like that one
all the way. You know, yeah.
The
song about Cowboy, the hat, the way he like jogs and the shoulders coming up and down.
There are so many good songs that could have had the lyrics with saying the word cowboy in them. That would have been so much better. That would have worked for him. I don't like Kid Rock, man. I don't like Kid Rock.
I hate Kid Rock, but I think that's the power of Cowboy's Walkout. It's not just the song; it's the way he walks out. You know, early on in the days like WC, UFC, it wasn't pride. People weren't walking out with props. It wasn't some big ridiculous thing. Walkouts were a little shorter. The song was more like a kind of like throw a preference at a fire. You know, like, hey, do what you want. You know, express yourself. But no one was walking out with a cowboy hat. Cowboy Cerrone is a fan favorite because he always goes to war. But it was easy for the WC and the UFC to market him this way because he's such a recognizable character. And, I think he ticks that signature box so strongly on this one. You kind of have to put him on the list.
I get it. Plus, it's the same song. He's walked out through it his whole career. He's had a great career doing it.
And let's not forget as well, this is a guy that talks openly about having to throw up before fights, being very nervous and anxious before fights. You don't see that in his walkouts. By the time the walkout comes, I remember Randy Couture used to talk about this. You need to have your mind right by the walkout. Because that's, this is it now. And he always walks out like he's ready. He might not start the first round, but he's an infamous slow starter. He might not start like he's ready, but he walks out like he's ready. So I think for boxes 1, boxes 5, in enthusiasm, well, he doesn't really look like he's enjoying it, but he's cowboy, he loves it. So you got to take that one too. Okay. Again, the best walkouts, I did throw my list together a little bit.
Okay. I want to go to your next one because this is an awesome one. And this was on my list as well.
I guess the next 2 are awesome ones. You see that one as well, yeah?
You
remember that? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Suspense. Okay, I know the podcast. Build suspense.
Leota's on my worst list, though.
Gave it away.
Leo, here's the thing. He makes an appearance on my worst list, but it's not his fault.
Okay. So my next pick is Holly Holm, who great walkouts. Always got a good meme mug going. Picked some great songs. My favorite was when she fought Betch Kahea and she walked out to Black Dog. For me, that was just like cool. And that head kick KO gets played just about as much as the one against Rousey. So I think signature, no. She's walked out to the song a handful of times. But for the what you didn't want to call iconic and I kind of do, I'm taking that one. Boxes 1 and 2, check to fuck. Having fun with it. I mean, there's different ways to have fun with it. You come out and you just kind of, the whole room just goes insane. That's
a good example of a song that's getting her into that mode. Yeah. Like you see Holly walk out, she is ready to fucking go. And here's the thing. I used to have a rule for all of my friends when they'd come over to my dad's house for the summer that if any Led Zeppelin song started playing, you could not change the song or stop it halfway through. And if you did, you would never stay foot in the house again. And this was a very golden rule for a very large number of years. So anybody that walks out to Led Zeppelin gets a massive thumbs up from me.
It's a good one. So we'll pretend the suspense isn't gone. So Lyoto Machida walking out, the dragon, walking out to the Game of Thrones theme tune. I think it was against Eric Anders. I might be wrong on that. But when he walks out to the Game of Thrones theme, and this is before the last 2 seasons. This is back when everyone thought this was the best show ever.
It works so well.
That was
he's called
cool.
The Dragon.
Yeah. I'm only putting this one on for category 6. Josh liked it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, come on. There's something, but you see, that's the thing. There's something funny about that. I feel like we need another category, like charming. Because let's say Mickey Gould, for example. Mickey Gall walks out to "Ooh, Mickey, you're so fine." She got fought by Dana White, but the people spoke and they fought for it to be in, and it is in, and it's his walkout song.
It's not on the list.
It's not on the
I
list.
understand what you're saying. Like, we need to have this category, right?
It's not. But here's the thing: it's not on the best. It's not on the worst. But you've got to mention it.
The element of je ne sais quoi. Okay, how fucking cool is it? Actually, I've got one on my list that pretty much just ticks that one box, but we should shift back over to yours a little bit.
Okay, so I want to talk about Joanna. I want to talk about Joanna because this is a woman who is intimidating most of the time when she's got a fight. She can also be lovely. Generally, she's a lot nicer after she wins a fight than before it. And she hasn't always walked out to the same song. She's walked out to a lot of Polish music that I have no understanding who's it by or what's being said.
But I love it when she does it. The flag.
He's that English guy who didn't win on X Factor. He got cut, but then he ended up having a big hit career. James something.
I don't know much X Factor. Is it Blunt? James Blunt?
Not James Blunt.
He
was never on the X Factor. But okay, the point is, I don't really like the songs that she's walked out to particularly. I don't really understand them. I don't need to, because she's getting herself in the state where she's ready to fight. She's scaring the fuck out of the opponent, not necessarily with the song, but just with everything that she's doing. There's a whole fucking, the glare, the hand movements, all of it. It is, you are watching somebody walking out like they are ready to go into the gladiatorial ring.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you're sat in the pub and like you're not keeping half an eye on the big guy or the mouthy guy or the guy that keeps showing everyone his knife. It's that small, lean, twitchy guy. You can't stop twitching. There's just something about him. You're like, you terrify me. And you are clearly the most dangerous person I've ever come across. I just want to walk away now.
And iconic. There's showmanship. She's had the same walk for her career. She's had the same stare down her entire career. It's signature, maybe the song isn't signature, but everything that she does, the way she walks out, her demeanor, her presence, her body motions, her hand gestures, it is signature, it is showmanship, it is, I don't want to say enthusiastic because she's not really enjoying it, but it's getting herself into that mindset.
I don't know, I think she gets that whole like kind of Nick Diaz pass, like, I'm going to ask her about whether or not she's having fun. She's a fighter, so just she gets a pass on category 3. Yeah, category 3.
The other thing, category, I can't remember which one it was, but it's not enthusiastic.
I can't remember which category. Wait, was it?
I'm going to
the iconic category. Was it category 4?
No, she doesn't get enthusiasm. She doesn't get enthusiasm. She gets showmanship, iconic, mind games, self preparation, and signature.
And je ne sais quoi. Best fight of the year was Weili against Joanna.
Yeah.
She's had more than one iconic fight. The first Rose Namajunas fight, I know she's on the wrong end of it. That's a classic fight.
I mean, the second one, the 5-rounder.
I mean, that's a more competitive fight. For me, the first fight is a really special fight.
It's a special moment. It's not a special fight.
I don't know. Watching Rose Namajunas, who is without a shadow of a doubt the best submission artist in that division, possibly pound for pound the best submission artist in mixed martial arts, absolutely murks Joanna, who has been untouchable on the feet in that division, in the stand-up game. Just like, I knew who Trevor Whitman was before that fight, but then I just started looking into everything Trevor Whitman had ever done after that fight.
For me, that's a great performance. It's a great moment. It's an upset moment. It's not a great fight because a great fight has to have more back and forth. And
maybe, but I would say having a great upset performance makes something a special fight. Wimbledon winning the FA Cup was a dog shit football game. All right. But that is a special game.
But that's a different situation. I don't know. For me, it's an incredible moment. It's one of the best ever upset moments in UFC title fight history. But I don't think you can necessarily say it's a great fight comparative to, because there was no back and forth. The fight was barely getting started. Rose was showing that she had really good control of the range. She was surprising everybody on the feet. And then she lands one knockdown. Nobody can believe what's going on. Joanna gets up. Rose lands a perfect left hook.
Yeah.
It's special, but I wouldn't say in the great fight category. I'd say it's a great moment.
Either way, not too not too relevant to what we're talking about today, though.
No, I was going to say we digress.
Yeah.
We digress.
Who you got next? And do you want anything from the fridge?
I'm good for. Actually, can you grab me a bit?
Yeah. Hold it down.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this video. Estrella.
You want another Australia? Yeah?
Yes, please. Bringing fine, tasty, delicious beer to all of Spain and other places in the world. We recommend it. They're great people. And I'm hoping that if we give you some free advertising, you'll start giving us money for sponsorship.
Yeah, do you want to, like, even with the logo,
The wrong way
being
around.
a star, it wasn't until I moved here that I learned that Estrella was Spanish for star.
I didn't even know that until you just told me.
Oh, bro, wait. You know
I
how,
didn't
like,
even know that
in the
until you
pint
just told me.
glasses, they have, like, the raised stars. You know, it's fit for a little while. The bubbles, like, slowly foam up in the shape of a star on the top and everything. They really go to town on the star stuff. And Anglophones are just like, I'm dumb as fuck. Estrella is a cool sounding word. I like the star. That's a good logo. Like, we don't know. Idiots.
Always refreshing then. And you're also having same brewer, I want to say. Hold up.
Not a clue, to be honest. It's I think it's actually pronounced Boy. Boy Dam.
Boy,
But,
that makes sense.
I'm a big fan of the local over here, the Moritz, as well.
The Moritz is good. I like the double malt Moritz. Epidor.
Oh yeah.
The Epidor is delicious.
Yeah, actually Victor got me on that.
It's good.
A little while back. But as much as I love beer, I really love gin.
What's your favorite gin?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna edit this out. So
this is gold, mate. This is gold. Yeah, still saying it. What's your favorite gin?
All gin, to be honest. I
haven't heard of All Gin. Is it a good brand? Is it a London Dry?
Fuck up. Look, any name brand gin that I've had, I've never been like, it's terrible. No, I like it. I like cheap gin as well. And it's 2020. It's 2021 now. But, we've just been through 2020. I've been exploring every single gin that you can get a litre of for less than 10 euros, of which there are a lot, because we live in a glorious country here. I like pretty much all cheap gin as well. There's not really a lot I don't like when it comes to gin. I used to be a big rum fan as well, but as I'm getting
Rum's
older,
good.
I can't deal with the rum hangovers. It just feels like my stomach's rotting from the inside. Just
buddy.
I don't handle it.
Rum does nasty things to you the next day. So does gin. I've had some bad hangovers on gin, man.
Yeah, I handle it better than I handle rum. My favorite hangovers would be Guinness, because you just take one solid shit and it's all gone. You just feel halfway normal again. And it's not a hangover shit. It's just about one of the most healthiest, perfect shits you can take. It might be a little darker in color, but it's just, you're not feeling good. You wake up, you're feeling like death. You squat down on the loo for 2 seconds and 50% of your troubles are gone. Just better out than in, You don't throw up Guinness, all right? It comes out the right way. Also, very, 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 very easy to chug Guinness. Doesn't burn your mouth like lager.
Gin is very difficult to chug. So yeah, generally in good UFC walkouts, as we've established, you don't want to do too much. You want a song that works. You want to be a little bit menacing, a little bit intimidating if you want to. I'll rephrase that. There's a lot of different ways that you can have a good walkout, but the key is you got to do something that's going to work in a quick time frame from getting out of your dressing room to getting into the octagon.
I think you put together some good categories. Let's say like category 1, you being mentally ready. Category 2, you psyching out the opponent. Two sides of the same coin. But if you're doing one of those well enough, then I'm going to tick the box for both.
Absolutely.
Like Randy Couture said, this is the last chance. You have to be ready now. Like you this is it before the fight. John Kavanagh has said the advice he gives to his fighters is enjoy this moment, especially when they're moving on to a bigger show. You know, you don't know how many fights you're going to get at this level. Try and soak it in. The walkout is the great chance to sort of soak in the crowd, take in the moment, get ready, just mentally prepare yourself for everything you need to do before you actually the cage closes and you go. So it has to be energizing in some way, either for you or taking it away from your opponent.
Yeah.
It has to be a great walkout. I think you need to either have a very, very good song choice or a song choice that makes some sense. It has to mean something on some level.
Or you need to be intimidating as fuck. Like going to a boxing example, Mike Tyson in a world where everybody did these over dramatic entrances, shocked everybody by walking out with just a towel around his neck and a quick walk straight to the ring, and it intimidated everybody. It did exactly what they wanted it to do. I'm going to say one of the ones I've got on my best list is Cron Gracie walking out to the siren from The Purge. That's a good choice.
So that's just it. Just that siren sound, just him stone faced walking out. I can't remember which fight it was. What was his last fight? I think it might be the fight he lost.
Cub Swanson.
It might be that fight. So it didn't work, but great walkout.
I want to make a special mention to a couple of individual examples. And in this, I want to touch on what I like to call a make or break category. So I'm a strong believer that make or break section. Sorry, not category. It's not a category. Sorry. It's a section of this rather than a category of designation. Okay, if that makes sense. So this would be in terms of types of walkouts and whether or not they meet the categories. The make or breaks. If you dance on your way out to the octagon and then you perform like a twat, you have fucked yourself and looked like even more of an idiot.
Got it.
If you dance and do something choreographed and over the top and it works, it becomes iconic and legendary. A good example of this is Michel Pereira. Okay, we're going to get to my favorite example, but I want to mention Michel Pereira. I don't give a fuck what song he walks out to. I don't give a fuck about any of that kind of stuff. He's taken his first box every time he walks out. He is dancing all over the place. And that seems to put him in a pretty good state of mind to perform. It certainly has infuriated twice.
You count the Sanchez fight?
No, I'm counting the fight against Akhmedov.
Wait, so Akhmedov?
And Chaos Williams.
Oh, yeah. Okay, twice. Okay. Yeah, twice.
And he fucks up at the end, but it was an impressive performance against Diego Sanchez up until that moment. Not saying that that's not an easy thing to do nowadays, but it was still an impressive performance.
Well, to be fair, of all the ways he fucks up, that's at least one that other people have tried. You know?
That's true.
That one wasn't a unique fuck up.
That's
people have fouled out before.
I know you don't like him, but my point is when he's done his acrobatics and his dancing, he gets himself into a state of mind. He can irritate his opponent, but if he loses, he's going to end up looking like an idiot. When he wins, I still don't really think it counts as iconic, but it's something. But it's a make or break.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good illustration of what you're saying. Right? You know, your mouth's writing checks, your ass needs to cash it.
Yep.
Okay.
We will be approaching make or break on the bad walkouts example that we'll be getting to very shortly. But the real great example, and this is certainly, I'd say, my best example of accomplishing iconic, is Israel Adesanya walking out to hype for his title fight against Robert Whittaker. He's the title challenger in a fight in the Champions Back Garden in Australia. And he walks out with 3 of his best friends doing a choreographed dance pose. That is either going to work or it isn't. You got to perform unbelievably well to not have every single person say that walkout did not affect your performance, particularly in UFC, where it's not the commonality. We see it in boxing all the time and people don't talk about it that much, apart from that fight and maybe as an excuse for why he lost. Deontay Wilder. But it's not something that we're used to seeing in the UFC. And the way that Izzy pulled it off, the performance that went with it, the attitude, everything about it. He might have been the first guy walking in, but Robert Whittaker could feel that something had happened when his walkout song happened.
Yeah, he didn't look ready.
There was an absence. I think that he could feel the crowd didn't seem right. There was an absence of the same atmosphere, of the same gravitas that he would have expected walking out as the home champion. And it is because Adesanya had sucked the air out of the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a great walkout.
And they say you got to sometimes, it's a risk to be great, and you can end up looking very foolish. And he took that risk, and that performance in itself is more iconic because of the walkout that happened before it.
I tell you what, I would love to come straight off the back of that onto some other extravagant walkouts. I would love to talk about Tom Lawler. Can we take a quick break first?
Of course we can. Okay, we've kind of talked about a lot of the walkouts that we like. You've got one more that you want to bring up.
Yeah, we were going to say Tom Lawler, but actually, let's knock out the rest of the best ones. I haven't got one more, actually. I've got a few more. This one I'm picking just for sheer musical merit. It was a great fight. It's a fighter I like a lot. It was a good walkout. Boxes 1 and 2 checked, but this was just one. I'm not a big fan of the medley. I start with one song, start leading you down one path and cut back, play something different. John Jones does it.
That's a real boxing thing.
Yeah. But when Michael Johnson welcomed Justin Gaethje to the UFC, he walked out to originally the intro was "Please Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood," and then it just drops into Kendrick Lamar's "Mad City," and I was like, "That's a strong effort.
That's a cool drop."
Yeah. So good, in fact, that Valerie Letourneau actually stole it and walked out with it for the next fight in Bellator. The exact same medley.
Wow.
Shameless.
Different organization, though.
It doesn't matter. We know what you did, Valerie. We know what you did.
We're watching you. We're watching you right now.
Yeah, she's got an OnlyFans. Yeah. No.
Yeah. I don't pay for my porn.
Well, as I understand with Diego Sanchez, you just have to sign up to be a member of the platform, and then it's free. Everything Diego does is free, I think.
I don't want to know what Diego Sanchez's life looks like. It's a little bit, I don't know.
Apparently it's just training videos and stuff like that.
Apparently is a very strong word that can mean a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let me just knock out the last two then. DC, just socks pulled up high. With the dad bod, the high socks, just...
He's intense when he walks out.
Yeah. Yeah, but he looks like he's there to pick up someone's kid. Like he's there to pick up his kid. Like, you know, he's gonna jog down this to Lil Wayne and then grab him, put him in the sedan, off he goes. On to the next thing. Just down on a mission.
That's more a statement of DC's whole career there.
Yeah, and I love it. And just I love his walkouts. It's not a song that I love, but I'm a big fan of the show Ballers. And every time, that's the theme tune to the show. Every time I watch an episode, all I see is DC jogging down to the octagon. That's it.
See, I get a different... For me, DC is only menacing when he's approaching it in the octagon. It's the only time I look at him and think, you are a terrifying human being.
Yeah.
He really is. Because he seems so nice. And then suddenly it's when he's got the mean face on. Suddenly, like, you see the scars. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you stop looking at the height at that point and just look at the overall mass, and you're like, fuck.
He might have lost that fight, but him pacing up and down, waiting for his name to be called by Bruce Buffer in the second Stipe Miocic fight is about as intense as I have ever seen a man look waiting to fight. And he was such a fierce competitor, it summed up who he was. This is the thing. I think this is what we can kind of ascertain if we put a bit of a close on the best walkouts. It's got to be you. Whatever you is, it's got to be what you do. Everyone, if there's one thing that the MMA community and fans hate, it's anything that feels fake or put on. And as we're about to learn with all of the fails, they all happen when somebody is trying to be either too fucking cool or not real to who they are or put on a bit of a front. And it's going to be pretty consistent across the board. We love Wonder Boy. Why? Because he is the Wonder Boy. It sums up who he is. He doesn't
get away with it. He makes it.
Yeah. We love Joanna because it's such a statement of how she's going to perform when she walks out, whatever the song is. We love Michael Bisping's because we associate it.
Because we're English.
And we're English.
We're English.
Michael Bisping's the man.
He's our God.
He's,
Yeah. That would be dream interview guest.
Oh, dude. Whether we went on his podcast, he went on our podcast, both are acceptable to me.
Like, it's ridiculous that I dream about him coming onto our podcast. You're thinking about us going onto his podcast. I like that.
Well, I don't know.
Like that.
I feel like it would be an easier point from his side. We just pop on for 10 minutes. If he's got to do our podcast, it's a scheduling issue. And, I'm trying to make things simple. He's also got more subscribers, so it would be good for us.
Hey, who'd you rather have? Well, this is really more for me question. I don't know why I'm asking it to you. Trevor Whitman or Jason Perillo?
Trevor Whitman all day long.
Yeah, I think Jason Perillo is a really fucking cool guy.
I think he's a cool guy, but
I couldn't split both.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I feel like Trevor Whitman is like having a chance to have an hour-long masterclass on everything that you could possibly learn in terms of the art of coaching.
Yeah, no, whatever question I've got, it might not be the perfect answer, but he's going to have an answer. And so many elements are subjective, but he's going to have an answer or an opinion on everything you could imagine asking.
Jason Perillo is a great coach, and I think he'd be a really cool guy. But I feel like Trevor Whitman is somebody that can articulate the art and the thought process and all of that kind of stuff very, very well. And I think that's reflective in his fighters.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, we talked about it earlier, he turned Rose Namajunas into one of the best, most technical strikers in the strawweight division.
And Pat Barry. You got to give Pat Barry credit.
I'll give Pat Barry a lot of credit.
All right, I've only got one more.
Okay, go for it.
Good one. This is a weird one to finish on, but Ted Nugent's Stranglehold is the perfect walkout song because it's a good song. It lags a lot in the middle. It's like a fucking 6-minute song. I'd say the first like 2.5 minutes are fucking solid, which is like prime walkout length. Anything like 90 seconds, I'd say is kind of like an average. If you're a main event fighter, it's a little longer. That's the perfect amount to have the build up, the kick ass riff. When Michael Chiesa walks out of Stranglehold, I think the first time he walked out to it was against Jim Miller, which was at the time for him like a big statement win. And just when he does the Stranglehold, bit corny, but he actually does the gesture in that part of the song. I like it. I'm a Maverick fan. That was fucking cool. Last one on my list. I winged the list. I didn't put Vanderlei Silva on deliberately. If you're wondering why I didn't put Vanderlei Silva on, I fucking hate that song. It deserves to be on the list, but I really hate that song.
Just the pure intimidation factor, though, in his demeanor and the fucking. I know it's not his walkout, but that before the fight.
Yeah,
his pencil-eye stare. It's
hard to have a name like the Axe Murderer and not have a few people be like, "You're over-exaggerating. You overcompensating for something." No, he was the Axe Murderer. Like his fight with Brian Stan, is one of the funnest fights you can watch.
Arguably his last great hurrah.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit for both guys, to be honest. Brian Stan finished early. Well, I'd say Brian Stan, to this day, my favorite pundit. In my opinion, the best pundit. Better than Joe Rogan. Better than anyone.
Well, Joe Rogan's
better than John Anik.
A little bit slipping.
Also, John Anik was at his very best. I know he's improved a lot, but honestly, him, Brian Stan, that was the formula. Those were my favorite events when it was those two guys.
Let me ask you this to close up on good ones. What is your all-time favorite walkout? Not necessarily individually, but just fighter out of all of these.
Honestly, I know. I guess because it's around the time I first got into UFC, is to this day my favorite fight. It was before this fight, one of my favorite songs. Robbie Lawler walking out, Sam and Dave, hold on, I'm coming. It's a fucking banger. What a great song. Against Rory McDonald in their rematch. Honestly, my favorite fight, I would happily argue with anyone. I think that's the best UFC welterweight title fight, a list of which there are many strong contenders. That is the best one in my opinion.
Interesting. I'm going to say Izzy, hype to hype title. You got to dare to be great. I remember I was watching that with Tom, and as he's walking out, I've got Laurie texting me at the same time. Laurie's loving every second of it. And I say to Tom, this is one of those things that either works or it doesn't. And it all depends on what's about to happen. So for what it led to, for the fact that he's the only guy that's ever been able to get away and do this kind of grandiose entrance in the UFC.
Yeah. This is Babe Ruth pointing at the bleachers. This should be sports law.
And also, we've had a year without fans, and he did it on the largest ever live attending audience in UFC history. Just the whole moment was iconic. I mean, although it's not signature, it's such a statement of who he is.
Do you know why I can't put it on?
Why?
Because I'm such a massive Bobby Knuckles fan. I just can't. I love Izzy. I think Izzy's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. My head's really cold. I have to keep rubbing it even with the hoodie on. Izzy is fucking phenomenal. Izzy is a better fighter than Robert Whittaker, I think. But I'm such a big Bobby Knuckles fan. I've only been able to watch that fight like twice. It hurts when I try to watch it.
Do you not want, if Bobby Knuckles is going to lose to anybody though?
Oh, for sure.
You want it to be
no. The fact that he took it from Whittaker tarnishes him in no way for me. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of my favorite fighters became my favorite fighters because they beat all of the other guys that I was a big fan of at the time. You know,
we're not going to edit that, but we are going to segue because however bad we just messed up there, none of that is as bad as the following contenders have messed up their walk-ins in the UFC.
Oh, so yeah, leave it in because that's the perfect lead-in to the worst walkouts.
Absolutely. Now, I got to go first last time, so I feel I'm going to pass the baton over to you because you've got some wonderful picks here. And give me the first on your list.
First on my list. Right. When we talked about this before we pressed record, he thought I'd put this on my best list. And he couldn't understand why this was on my worst list.
Thought it was ironic.
Forrest Griffin walking out to Chumbawamba.
Oh, no, that one I didn't think ironic. That's awesome. That's a great walkout.
It's not a good walkout. So I get knocked down and then I get up again.
You're never going to keep me down. It sums up his whole career.
Yeah. If all you knew about that song was those two lines of lyrics, then you could be like, no, I don't know, Josh. Seemed like a good choice. But if you look at any of the other lyrics or have actually listened to the song, you would know that's a fucking ridiculous choice.
I'm going to say the beginning is a little bit weird.
The whole song is fucking stupid. I'm pretty sure that song should have just been marketed to children. You know, you should have only been able to know about
you want to market a song to children that says, I grab a whiskey drink, I grab a lager drink.
Yes, in Britain, yes. Yes, you started early, I started early. Everybody started.
We didn't start intentionally early. I didn't drink that wine at 6 because I thought it was wine.
Yeah, well, I don't think that was the only song that was getting us on it, mate. I think a lot of things push us that way. It's a weird place.
Hey, listen.
If nothing else, Brexit. All right? Who votes to have less money? Just doesn't make any sense. I don't want to get political. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We live in Spain. We think it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
It's made us had to get new documentation. It's all very irritating.
Which, to be honest, wasn't that bad to get.
No.
I'll talk to you about the rest of that later. We're not getting political on here.
No.
There's been some bad stuff.
I feel kind of good about the fact that we're the only people we know that have sorted this shit out early.
Well, I feel terrible for everyone that's got stranded in Britain because they won't accept some of the flights.
That was bollocks, and they've had to buy new flights as well.
And apparently, that isn't one of the differences between the tier and the near that they hinted at before and saying, just get it done because everything will be easier. Those people should have been allowed on those flights. Yeah. The Spanish government come out and said that was wrong. And,
it was just some border control dicks and some people working for an airline that decided that they're going to be the big men today.
Yeah. The Brexit will prove to be a mistake over the next 10, 20 years, I'm sure. After that, who knows? But
you know what? I kind of
that's a bad walkout. Britain walking out of the.
That's a terrible walkout. That's the worst walkout of all. I'll say this though. Now that we're here, I want them to be right. I don't want to be one of those people.
No, I don't want to see a whole economy fucking tank. Well, to be honest, it's essentially 4 countries, 5 if you consider the effects of they're not really going to implement the border, but who knows long term what's going to happen. But 4, potentially 5 economies, important, strong economies that and four cultures that, yeah, it's very, very confusing with Ireland, Northern Ireland. I really don't want to get into that. But a lot of different cultures that are really going to be affected here. You know,
we moved to Spain for a reason.
Yeah, we did. But that's because we come from the south of England. That's the worst part. The only thing is this: it's warmer, so it is technically livable.
That's true.
If you've never lived in the north of England,
I've lived in Carlisle. That shit's for real.
It's very, very, very. It gets cold in the south of England. There are still like months, you know, January, February. Doesn't matter how many coats.
It's cold there right now.
The wind cuts through you. You're fucking freezing. Up north, it's just like that 9 months of the year. So beautiful part of the country, the north. Everything about it's so cool. The people are fucking amazing. Even the Larry, angry, annoying ones because they talk in a funny accent. It's all brilliant. It's like being in Disneyland constantly. It's like living in a fairy tale. But it's so fucking cold.
It's fucking cold here at the moment.
Actually, yeah, we're in a bit of a cold snap.
It's not nice.
It's cool though, because like, do you know what? Dream sponsor would be Uniqlo. Man, I got my shipment at Uniqlo. This stuff's comfortable, snug, warm as fuck. I gotta keep rubbing my head because it is a bit cold here, but that's because, you know, I got back of my head shaved and the side of my head shaved.
Yeah, welcome to my world. You got 30% of the taste. Try and complain.
How far down does it go? What's your ball bag say?
What?
Huh? Nothing.
That's the thing. I'm becoming hairier on my chest as the hair goes. It's like a transference. I couldn't grow a beard when I had hair on my head. It's literally like God has just gone, nah, enough of that. We're going to move some of this across. I'm just going to start putting this here. Yeah.
Carlos Newton.
Wait a minute. I don't feel like we really addressed your first bit. I disagree with it. I just want to say that. Now move on.
Okay. Move on. No, you're an idiot. Now we'll move on. Chumbawamba was a dumb fucking band. That was it. TubThumping. I can't remember the name of the song. You don't need to know. It's fucking stupid.
It's TubThumping.
Stupid. All right. Carlos Newton fighting Matt Hughes for the welterweight strap. Walks out to Destiny's Child. Bootylicious.
What a legend.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to be honest. When you first told me this, I thought there was something quite comical and ironic about it. But if you walked out like seriously to it, it's the worst choice I've ever heard.
There's only one way to walk out to Matt Hughes. All right, look. Obviously, he had a rivalry with Frank Trigg, but Trigg was Twinkle Toes. Trigg was the guy that painted his toenails. Matt Hughes picked him up and fucking dumped his ass in, you know, one of the most iconic slams of all time. You don't fuck around with Matt Hughes. He is a human gorilla. It is just not advisable, poorly thought out. There's a reason that a lot of casual fans don't know who Carlos Newton is.
And you think it's because of Bootylicious?
Don't let the only thing you know about Carlos Newton be that. Go here, Google. But I can't go to bat for the man because, you know, what the fuck?
To go through our criteria, he...
no boxes ticked.
No
Zero boxes ticked.
There's no if...
Did he prepare? No.
No. Did he get himself amped up? No.
Is the opponent scared? No.
The opponent might be confused. The opponent might be very confused.
No, Matt Hughes knew what he was... Matt Hughes is not confused when it comes to the fight business.
Here's the problem. It doesn't work as well because you can't psych your opponent's out if you're the first person walking out anyway.
No, he was the champion.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it was
Matt Hughes is watching this from the cage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was when Matt Hughes became the champion.
Yeah.
I understand. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I've forgotten.
I think Carlos Newton is the first welterweight champion in the UFC. I might be wrong. I think he is.
You're probably right. I'm too sad to remember.
No. There's a reason that you can only have so much fun in your walkout. And I'm not taking box 3. Do you know why? You don't get box 3. That was fucking stupid. You shouldn't have done that. No. Matt Hughes, Beyonce, really?
You don't tick the boxes.
No boxes
safe to say you tick every single one of the do not do's. You tried to look cool and you didn't.
Well, do not do 1. Fight Matt Hughes. You fucked up there, son. Shouldn't have done it. Do not do 2.
If he's the champ, he would have thought he's the man.
I mean, Matt Hughes, though.
I know. Like, Tyron Woodley once thought he was the man.
You can't compare Tyron Woodley and Matt Hughes.
I'm just saying. I'm
That's
saying from the
sacrilege.
champion's perspective, you never know when it's the fight that you're about to get your ass kicked.
Matt Hughes, for me, in MMA terms, very much defines what a champion's being. Matt Hughes is the guy that said, "You're not the champion until you defend." All right, and I think there is a lot to that. I really do. No, Matt Hughes. No,
We get it.
all
We
right.
get it. Matt Hughes.
Sorry.
And-
And all I got left on the list.
Bootylicious is a little bit of a strange choice. I'm not going to lie.
I don't think he can handle it. That's it. That's what happened there.
He
See, I
wasn't
did
ready.
that. See, I
He
did
was not
that.
ready for this jelly.
Oh. Yeah, we know the words.
Also, I don't know what statement you're trying to make. You're basically just saying you're not ready for my booty, which isn't the message that you should ever want to send out for a fight.
The message is that Carlos Newton doesn't care how hurt my feelings get.
No.
All right, I've only got 2 more on the list, but
One of them was on
it's
my
the same
list.
offender.
One of them was on my list.
You didn't put both on.
I don't know. I can't read what the second one is.
So, all right, okay. Well, no suspense again. I tanked this one. Tom Lawler. Tom Lawler. 2 separate occasions, multiple offender.
I just had him as one category.
The do not do.
The do not do. Just everything about him.
I love Tom Lawler, by the way. I'm a big fucking Tom Lawler fan. Me and Kate right now
He's
are
a big
actually
Tom Lawler
watching
fan once he's inside.
as a fighter
Yeah.
and as a human being.
And before that. So everything before that he walks out and
Yeah.
after the walkout.
Yeah.
It's just this really horrible middle bit where he subjected us and his
Only on
coaches.
these 2 occasions.
And his coaches to some rather embarrassing and traumatic things. I don't know if you can say he was trying to be cool here. All you know is that whatever he was trying to do, it didn't work.
When he walks out to pretty fly for a white guy, he is trying to be the eponymous, the very core of what that song is making fun of. And this is a guy that loves pro wrestling. Okay, so I will say this for Tom Lawler. He doesn't fight in MMA anymore. He does pro wrestling. Mostly because he got fucked over royally, which I'm not going to get into. But he always had that weird sense of
Oscar
theatrics.
De La Hoya MMA card.
Oh my god, no, he did return to MMA for that. I'd forgotten about that.
Got knocked out by Deron Wynn.
He was short as fuck, but that guy is powerful. He is, for sure. That guy can hit. Look, Tom Lawler walking out to pretty fly for a white guy with the glasses, the shirt, just white as you like, honestly. Just, I don't really like, these sort of racist terms. When you go up to America, they do have some weird fucking white people in America, and they do have white culture in America for sure. And it's very fucking weird. And as ironic as he maybe wanted his thing to be, as much of a heel as he wanted to be in the UFC, it just did not come off. He gave it all the effort in the world, but the execution just was not down to his effort. It was down to what everyone else sort of interpreted. And that was, sweet Jesus, what the fuck did you just do?
That was still better. That was still better than...
Yeah, the other one is worse. I'm going to let you...
The early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, I can't quite remember. Maybe the early 2000s, I believe.
Yeah, it was
a song,
what people call the noughties, which...
The early noughties, the very early noughties.
It's basically like, no one really talks about the 1900s, like the noughties of the 20th century in the same way as the 21st, because it wasn't really until like the 20s and the 30s that people started using these kind of terms. And by the time the millennium rolled around, everyone was a little bit like, oh, we haven't got anything planned for this next decade, these next 10 years. We haven't got a name. We're going to have to come up with one. No one knows what we're going to do. And it became by default the noughties, which is not just a shit fucking name, but it perfectly characterizes that whole decade. It's almost like we just sort of stood still. Fashion went backwards, but not in a cool way. Everything else went sideways. No one knew what was going.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
There were some good films and some good TV shows, but
Minority Report is excellent.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one thing I want to throw out. The noise. Don't try to squeak Tom Cruise in there like that's cool, man. That's Tom
Cruise
No, it's not a bad.
He's the man.
It's not a bad film.
He's the man. He needs more appreciation, man. He jumped out of a helicopter. He flew a helicopter. Then jumped out.
That shit he did on the plane is insane. I don't even watch these films.
I know, but it's still impressive. And he's great in Magnolia.
The noughties should not have a name for a reason. We can shelve that. That is a problem for like these fuckers coming up in the year 3000. No one else is going to worry about it.
Now, inside of
2100.
inside of this period, a group called the Baha Men released a song called "Who Let the Dogs Out."
Released? No.
They spawned. They spewed into existence. What description would you like?
Forcibly
ejaculated
the right word
of the world. For a song that became wildly popular and overplayed. Best summed up in the Cuba Gooding Jr. movie Snow Dogs, where the trailer played that song.
You probably heard it last on some very cheap pet food advert.
It was done that as well. I heard it first when it first came out.
Yeah.
And me at like 11 years old thought it was hilarious. And I still can kind of appreciate the song in a sort of very nostalgic way when I look back and play it and kind of think, wow, this was a song. This was a little bit stupid. Never in my life would I have thought that this would be the song I would want to walk out on television to.
Do you like the song?
Sorry?
Do you like the song?
I like the song in the same way that like I like The Land Before Time.
No, that's a bad song in a good movie.
It's things from my childhood that I have an appreciation for because I really liked them at the time, even if I was to have.
Do you know what? I'm a little older than you.
As the thing is,
because Jungle One became out when you were still smashing your fucking high chair.
Yeah, I was like 7. Then that comes out. Who Let the Dogs Out comes out when I'm 11. For you, it's like 11 and 15.
16,
yeah, it's a different ballgame.
All right, I'll give you a pass.
Land Before Time is a great movie. But I used to appreciate The Land Before Time 2, 3, 4, 5, all that crap. And the sequels do not hold up.
No, they don't. But I've watched them and rewatched them.
Can you still name all of the main characters?
No, even like the one that the little girl that played her got like murdered by her father.
What?
Yeah, you know the little cutie like female voice one.
Others.
All right, so it's Judith Barzi. So she probably voices plural for The Land Before Time.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Ducky. Yeah.
And what was the big thing?
That her father murdered her and her mum.
Wow, that was a dark twist of the Land Before Time series.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant with her was the big thing with her. That was.
I didn't mean the.
You
actress.
set me up to fail.
I didn't mean the actress. I didn't mean the actress. I meant the characters.
No, I'm not gonna. I don't care how old something is. I'm not gonna do spoilers. Well, actually, unless I fancy doing it, or if it's something I don't like, or if it's something that I assume you should have watched by now. But we're not going to do that one. We're not going to ruin The Land Before Time.
We're not going to talk about The Sixth Sense because you know what? It's a really good movie with a great Bruce Willis performance. Why would we take that away from you?
Yeah, let me ruin it for you. Donnie Wahlberg does a better job at the start than you think. He's dead. He's fucking dead. You're pretty upset that I ruined that, eh?
I made a whole point about not ruining it for people. What else do you want to do?
Miguel, if you're watching, let's throw some more Tenet spoilers at him. You know what happened? He didn't read anything we wrote to him. He
deleted it.
Yeah, let me grab my phone.
Oh man, does he still?
So he hasn't read anything we sent him about that.
Okay, Miguel, if you're listening. And to be honest, I still
Michael Caine is Robert Pattinson's future self, and he orchestrated the whole thing. Everything is shown backwards. You see the ending first. The bellhop in the hotel is key to everything. It's in the same universe as Time Cop. You didn't read any of that when you sent that to me. Fucking dickhead.
I thought that Time Cop one was quite good.
Yeah, I like that one. All right. Tom Lawler.
He walks out.
I'm glad Tom Lawler got this much time and attention. You know.
He deserved it. He's basically the reason we did a worst one.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that was on both lists.
Yeah. You don't have my favorite one. But we do have kind of similar topics that we're going to mention. Yeah, it's not just the fact that he walked out to Who Let the Dogs Out. If this was in this early noughties period that we were just talking about earlier, it would be forgivable. Okay, you jumped on a trend. It was the hot thing. You thought it'd be funny. Tell me when UFC 100 was, please, Josh.
2000 and something.
It's 2009.
2009.
Now,
light at the end of the tunnel.
Now, please explain how big of an event UFC 100 was at the time.
Fucking huge. That was in Canada, right, as well?
I don't know where it was, but it was the biggest event they had up until that point.
Yeah, one of the big stadiums they've got up there with some of the most passionate, ferocious fans you can imagine for the sport. They really do like. I'd say the only kind of fandom that comes close is when the Irish travel to support McGregor and the Brazilians. Yeah, the Canadians really appreciate MMA. Any event in Canada, I know is going to be a big fucking event because there's going to be that extra electricity. Yeah.
Do you want to look it up quickly?
Yeah.
But he didn't just have a terrible walkout with a terrible song. He had it 6-7 years past it ever being cool, and it wasn't even cool at the beginning. He did it on one of the biggest events UFC had ever had at the time, with the most amount of eyes.
No, it was in Vegas.
On the sport in Vegas, which is where I suspected it was. I don't know where the Canada thing came from.
He drops it on me like I prepared for that UFC 100. This isn't a test.
Yeah. And not only does he walk out to Who Let the Dogs Out, but he does so wearing a ridiculous outfit with his coaches crawling on their hands and knees with a leash around their necks. I just want to confirm this. He had some of the most, I can't remember who his coaches were at the time, but we're talking about professional trainers who deserve respect. And he convinced them for some reason to crawl on their hands and knees to Who Let the Dogs Out, pretending to be dogs with bones in their mouth as they did it. Until he got, and this is the worst part, and this is why it is so stupid, the walkout in UFC, and this is what we were talking about when we said all the best walkouts, apart from a couple of make or break exceptions, keep it very simple. It is a short walk to the octagon, where you then have to be checked by a ref, they pat you down and do all of the normal things, which means no matter what you did it for about 30 seconds. And then everybody had to stand up, take off these ridiculous outfits, and then which took an extra 30 seconds, and then spend a minute doing the normal check down things. All the while, the dog song is still fucking playing. It does not work. It didn't work.
That's why it was on the prelims. Tom Lawler has rubbed Dana White the wrong way several times, but yeah, that was not a good walkout.
I'd like to now get to my list.
Oh, you know, I have got a few more, but we can do your list and come back to mine.
My list is basically in my mind, so it's a lot easier if I just get it out while I've got things in my memory. I love you, Rory McDonald, and the story of your walkouts at the beginning is hilarious because you changed phone numbers just as you joined the UFC, and they never updated your number. The person who had your old number figured out very quickly when he's received a random text from the UFC asking what walkout song he would like to walk out to.
Which is a 1 in a million chance, by the way. I've seen an AMA on Reddit with this guy. Like, what were the fucking odds?
Yeah.
Wow. Someone thinking on his feet. Well done, sir. I tip my cap.
And for several fights, Rory McDonald, who didn't think that he picked his own songs, just assumed that it was a process that was just handled for him, would walk out to whatever song some random guy had selected who was watching at home, loving it every single time. And it took right up until either the fight before, I think it was the fight before his title fight against Robbie Lawler, that they finally clocked on. And he finally got to pick his own song.
Do you know how they clocked on?
How? I'm curious.
They came up to him. I don't know what the pick was. They said, hey, Rory, I don't know if they told you. No one got back to me, but we can't play the song you chose. He's like, I haven't chosen. I never choose a song. What are you talking about? I haven't chosen the song. They're like, yeah, I'll show you the text. Rory McDonald's like, that's my old number. Like, phones up the guy. The guy's like, yeah, I'm a fan. I went with it. I thought it was cool. But
Such a great
I would.
answer.
I tried finding it online. I didn't search deep enough. But I would love to know. If you know, please leave a comment. I would love to know what song pick triggered them to walk up to Rory McDonald and be like, "Yo, we can't play that song. It's just not cool."
Do you think it was a case where it's like a subtle build-up? He picked something really realistic first couple of times, thinking, "I don't want to throw anything stupid out."
I remember one of them was MC Hammer. Can't touch this. The guy swang for the fences on every fucking time. Like it was. It's a really weird part of this sport that we love.
Did Rory McDonald never speak to another fighter who mentioned like,
Rory McDonald's a different breed? I don't think he did. I genuinely don't think he did.
Oh my god!
I don't think GSP was ever like, I love picking my walkout song. What do you pick, Rory? I think they just fucking did MMA and shit. And then there's one time this guy was like, well, we can't play that song you picked. He was like, oh shit, I pick him?
Well,
yeah, all right.
Rory McDonald got his title fight, and he got to pick his song for his title fight. A title fight that turned out to be one of the most epic, legendary, and brutal fights of all time. The same title fight that Rory McDonald, that Robbie Lawler gets credit for walking out to "Hold On, I'm Coming." Before that song had played, Rory McDonald's music starts, and it is "We Found Love in a Hopeless Place" by Rihanna and Calvin Harris, which I'm not knocking Rihanna. I'm not knocking Calvin Harris.
Yeah, it doesn't belong in the sport.
Doesn't belong in the sport.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were thinking, Rory. I really don't. And you lost, so it didn't help your mentality.
I know what he's thinking. He's thinking I'm new to this song picking game. All right, you got to take some losses sometimes to improve. Let's just, even though it's in Bellator, Rory McDonald's had many other title fights though, and even though none of them, let's be honest, none of them were as good as that fight. Some of them have been pretty fucking cool. So. Rory McDonald, my heart goes out to you. I love that guy.
But pick better music.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely pick better music.
Or let the other guy do it. Because, you weren't doing a bad job.
Diego Sanchez, you get a special mention in this. I can't say that any of your walkouts are bad.
I don't feel good about it. I'm going to go a little out of frame here a bit. I don't want to.
You are who you are. You're a crazy person.
And Diego's who he is, and you should respect that.
And I should respect that. But the cross was too much, and you know what I'm talking about. And that's all that I'm going to say on that matter.
Can I come back in front?
You can. I was respectful to Diego. I didn't overdo it, out of respect to yourself. And Diego's had a rough year. He doesn't need me kicking him when he's down.
Nah, his coach does, though.
Yeah, his coach is a dick.
I don't know if you've seen it. There's an audio clip. I know there's a video clip as well.
Is this the conversation with Matt Serra?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
I've seen this.
Fuck you, Josh Fabian. You do not train people with a knife. That is fucking dumb.
No, it's literally the worst training I've ever heard in my entire life.
I don't know. I think John Jones sniffing up rails in strip clubs, slightly worse.
Yeah,
but it's close.
His coach didn't say, right, John, what I want you to do now to prepare for this fight is be the badass motherfucker that you really deep down.
We don't know who else was there.
That's true.
We don't know. I think the coach is caught you hiding under the octagon in the gym because you were scared about testing positive for weed. I don't think they're that dumb. But I don't think they're out partying with him either. I don't know who I'm arguing for here.
No.
Sorry, back to your list.
Back to my list. For the same reason that I said Izzy's a make or break and he pulled it off. And a couple of times Michelle Pereira has got away with it. Michelle Pereira's performance against Tristan Connolly was one of the most embarrassing things of all time. And it started with the walkout. If you get tired halfway through your fight and you break danced for a minute and a half on your way out to the octagon, you're going to look like a twat. And this is what we talk about with the make or break. You wanted to look cool and it didn't work out and you look like an idiot.
I don't want to say embarrassing though, because then it takes away too much from Tristan Connolly. This is a guy that came in short notice as a lightweight, fighting a guy that honestly should be in the middleweight division and beat him. And yeah, Bahia beat himself first, but after he beat himself, Connolly beat him too, so. little bit of love for Tristan Connolly.
Maybe so, but it makes the walkout look even less cool when you don't pull it off.
Yeah, what a dickhead.
I think that's the thing. It's a really bad walkout if it's a walkout that ends up in some way showing like it affects your performance.
Yeah,
that's got to be the absolute taking the biscuit.
Yeah, you can't overdo it. Say something for the actual fight.
And this takes me to the worst walkout in UFC history, in my opinion, which is Chuck Liddell walking out for his title fight against Randy Couture. They do some horrible hard rock remix shit version of Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, with this weird voice doing an intro, fireworks going off as he walks down the ramp, all of the shit that they don't do anymore. And the reason they don't do any of that anymore is because of this Chuck Liddell walkout. It is the thing that killed it forever with the UFC. Dana White saw this guy they'd been hyping up. They gave a 5-minute intro to with all of the fucking bells and whistles. He didn't react well to it at all. Nothing was in character. He's not that type of guy. He looked awkward as he was walking down, and he then got beat by Randy Couture anyway, which made the whole thing feel like a complete waste of time. Doesn't tick any of the boxes. If anything, it psyched himself out. He didn't match his personality. He had no enthusiasm for it. And then he ended up losing embarrassingly.
Yeah, it's a good one. I haven't really got any more bad picks. I've got my honourable mentions.
Go honourable mentions. I'm kind of out of picks as well.
So, outside the UFC, being British, follow a lot of Cage Warriors, and Paddy Pimblett likes to walk out to this. It's like a remix version of a Yeah 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 song. I think it like eventually segues into Basement Jacks. Me and Matt actually looked it up, and the one we watched was him walking out at the Echo in Liverpool, and they had like a very long walkout from him.
It took 3.5
pretty much
minutes.
Starts in the car park and walks into the stadium. So the problem with the song pick is that the intro is so long that usually by the time he's into the cage, the song hasn't even dropped yet, and it's just such an uneducated choice, especially with Cage Warriors, where he tends to have quite a short walkout, even as the main event, even as a champion, you know. So that one. Honorable mention for sure. Overeem, love the guy. I'm not going to criticize his choice in music. You know, he likes repping that European crowd. I don't like anything he walks out to. So, honorable mention Overeem. Vanderlei Silva, I fucking hate that song. But he's the axe murderer, so he doesn't make the list. You know, it's in the same vein though, this Overeem thing. God damn, act your age, Alistair. I've got two interesting ones here, okay? Because it's the reverse phenomenon on each side. One of them is a song I used to like, and certain fighters have made me hate it. The other one is a song I hate, and one fighter has made me like it, but everyone else that walks out to it, I'm just like, goddamn, don't do that. So first, the song I used to like, Tom Petty. I can't remember the name of it, you know, that I won't back down. And just about every fighter with one of those like college wrestling tattoos on their back. Dan Henderson, Chris Weidman. Just it's not a great walkout song, in my opinion. And it's made me hate that song. And I like Tom Petty. You ruined that song for me. Chris Weidman, Dan Henderson. And these are good fights. These are fights I like. Dan Hendo's a fucking legend. Absolute legend. Honorable mention, Tom Petty. You guys have ruined that fucking song for me.
I'd like to make an honorable mention for the song that Macy Barber and a bunch of other UFC girls and Amanda Nunes walks out to. The been waiting my whole life. Unbreakable, untouchable.
Not a fan.
It doesn't. So this is the thing. Just because the lyrics sound like they might sum up how you're feeling, it doesn't mean it's going to work.
This is our Chumba one we've got on the list. Just don't do it.
We're going to have to disagree on that one. I'm TubThumping. I'm TubThumping Forest all the way. That sounded wrong. That sounded horribly wrong.
Yeah, but for two reasons. So the song that I used, I didn't like at all. Misha Cupcake Tate made me love. Katy Perry. I don't know if it's just called Raw or whatever.
It's called Raw.
I don't know. Spotify knows what I want now. If I type Katy Perry, and that's the only thing that comes up. So Yeah, I hate it every other time someone walks out to that song. But Misha Tate was pretty cool. Misha Tate was one of my favorite fighters ever, to be honest. So that Katy Perry song, though, don't fucking walk out to that song, right? Misha Tate owns it, so fuck off.
Other things you shouldn't walk out to. Eminem. There is such a thing as the Eminem curse in UFC, where pretty much, not every single time, but about 80% of the time, people that walk out to Eminem will end up losing that fight.
It's like getting a selfie with Drake at fight week. Okay, just no, don't go near that guy. And when he gets his camera out, just throw it away. Fuck your phone. My championship, for sure. That is. Sorry.
That's pretty much all of the ones I've done.
I just realised I left an honourable mention for the good list.
I'll go for
it. Carlos Condit walking out to various Rage Against the Machine songs.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Love it.
I'll take that. I will also chuck in. I don't know if we did, but I'm just going to mention again Michael Bisping because he's always a legend.
Oh yeah, we definitely did some too. We didn't come into we were talking about in terms of like what's like a signature, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he was signature.
Okay, just one last like honorable mention for me.
Dustin Poirier, cost to be the boss.
No, I'm doing the bad list.
Okay.
Just any Irish fighter walking out to the Dropkick Murphys, shipping up to Boston. They're an American man. Like, just no. Just if you try and do it with a flag, right? No, if you're not Irish, being Irish means something. Like,
if you are from Massachusetts, we support this song.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Boston Fires want to walk out to it. Paul Felder's from Philly, though, Pennsylvania.
Still counts.
I don't hate it. I like the song, but it's honorable mention. I'm not a big fan. You know, we
well, that's because
Barcelona.
Well, the thing is what you have to understand is he doesn't have a lot of choice, Paul Felder, because as we know, the city of Philadelphia is shit. No. So he has to pick a song from a different city.
No, they have the best sports franchise outside of Bournemouth.
How's that sports franchise reacting this week, Josh? How's the entire NFL reacting to Doug Peterson's decisions in that game against Washington?
I didn't watch the game.
Well, a lot of people aren't happy. Do you know why? They put the
I'm
Eagles.
Not a big Peterson fan, to be honest.
They put the Eagles versus Washington on as the primetime curtain closer of the season.
It's where we belong.
Primetime on Sunday night, the last game of the league with the most on the line. The Giants could get into the playoffs if the Eagles beat divisional rival Washington. And Jalen Hurts looked like he was going to get it done until the fourth quarter when Doug Peterson decided to bench Jalen Hurts for Sutcliffe, who hasn't taken a snap in 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I didn't watch this.
What ended up happening was exactly what you'd think would happen, which is that what could have been a win became a humiliating loss that killed the Giants' chance of going to the playoffs, puts Washington into the playoffs instead. It was captured on camera, several different shots of Jalen Hurts sitting on the bench, shaking his head, going, "This isn't right. This is a sport. We've lost our integrity. We're not even trying to win." And then,
yeah, I remember Alex Ferguson in one of several seasons where United had secured the title.
Can I just add the final Doug Peterson?
Sorry.
I just want to mention it because it's so beautiful. Doug Peterson, when he was asked why he decided to put Sutcliffe, who is a 7-year veteran of the UFC, has always been a third stringer and not taken a snap in training in 3 years, asked him why he put him in. He said, "I thought he could win the game for us, and I wanted to see what future we had with Sutcliffe. I wanted to see what the kid had."
Yeah, you don't look. Alex Ferguson said, going into the final game of the season with the championship being a foregone conclusion, with the FA Cup and I think maybe the Champions League final that season as well to play, where you're going to rest some key players against, I think it was West Ham who were in a relegation battle. He said, no, it wouldn't be fair to the rest of the league. It wouldn't be fair to the other teams. You play to win every time. That is fucking shameful. Sorry, though, I've never liked Doug Peterson.
Here's the thing as well. It's not like you guys had playoffs and you're resting guys for the next week's games. It's not like you were on the verge of getting Trevor Lawrence or the #1 overall pick.
No.
It's the difference between picking 6th and 9th. And yeah,
and you play to win.
It's broken the dressing room, apparently.
Well, I've never been a fan. We should get rid of him. To be honest, we haven't had a coach I like since
Andy Reid.
So
it gets worse, Josh, because what's so frustrating about all of this is that exactly what the Eagles did to allow the Washington just to walk into the playoffs undeservedly without having to earn it is exactly what I wanted the Buffalo Bills to do against Miami, who were already in the playoffs and are playing next week and didn't need to fucking play any people. They should have been resting their key guys, but they were like, nah, we're going to play everyone
to win.
And we're going to beat the Miami Dolphins by 30 points to kill our chances of getting into the playoffs. And what's been a great season, we had our worst loss to a team that didn't even need to win. So fuck you, Eagles. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. And guess what?
No, Matt. Fuck Doug Peterson.
Fuck Doug Peterson. I'm sorry, Eagles. It's not
okay,
your fault.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Hurts. I like Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, you want to act like Philly's shit, but it isn't. Right? There's a lot of good stuff.
I feel sorry for those players. They have to take some abuse. I don't feel sorry for Wentz, though. He deserves it.
It doesn't matter. I like Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is the man. I'm worried about Tua for Miami. He might not be the man.
No, you have to give him years to bed in, man. It's second season, right?
First season.
Yeah, okay. You can't really be critical. You want to see some improvement, some significant improvement by year 3. But you really, until like year 5, it's unrealistic to expect him to be a franchise quarterback. You know, even then, that's like kind of a best case scenario, really.
Yeah. Well, the difficulty is we've got the 3rd overall pick because of the Texans. And
so who's projected that?
Either Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, depending on if we want a quarterback. Depending on if the Jets want a quarterback.
The truth is that whatever position you pick, if it's in the top, like really in the top 5, you're paying a lot of money for it.
That's true.
So you're not going to be cheap. Like you're not going to be spending too much by getting a good quarterback to push to Vassar.
Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa. Tied to Vassar's the shoe. Oh, God, don't edit that out. If you get like a top 5 pick, you're paying a lot of money from whatever position. So it could be good to get another good young quarterback to push them. You know, let both of them make each other better rather than look at it as like having to throw one of them or both of them on the fire. You know, it works out sometimes. And obviously if, you know, everybody wants to play. But the biggest problem is when you've got a quality veteran quarterback who knows that they can, like, for example, Nick Foles, you know, won us a Super Bowl, won us a lot of games at crucial moments. We had to let him go because there was no way we were going to keep him. And we thought we had Carson Wentz at the time. So, you know, there are times you have to move them on. But I think if you've got young rookie players, it's easier to convince them that it's worth having the competition. It's worth taking some mental reps, playing in the fourth quarter in games you're winning and easing yourself in a little bit, rather than trying to win everything all at once. You know, it's a lot of responsibility to put on anyone's shoulders. And I think if you've got some young rookie quarterbacks, you can get a bit more support and camaraderie between them. So it could be a good option. You know, it's not like you're going to be paying a cheaper salary to a different player and thinking that, you know, that was the smart thing to do because you don't want to have your quarterback feel threatened and you don't want to spend too much on one position. The whole point of having the parity in the NFL by having the worst team draft first is the idea that you shouldn't be having this problem every year. You know, you shouldn't be having to pay out the biggest contract to the rookie of each class, so each draft class. So it's a good problem to have. You're going to get a lot of media criticism, whatever you pick and however they pan out, because that's how the media treat top draft picks. You know, people love talking about busts. You know, no one wants to talk about the booms, the stars. Everyone wants to talk about the busts. It's easy to write on.
Put it this way, if they don't decide to pick a quarterback, we got number 3 pick overall and number 18 pick in the draft. So if you just finish 10 and 6, and then you get to pick that high up and have 2 number 1 picks as well, and you've got free cap space, a lot of promise for next season.
Oh, for sure.
And for you guys as well. Maybe you finally found your
Every
quarterback.
Every year we're a threat.
Well, in
Let's
the
be
NFC,
honest, we almost finished top of the NFC East.
in the NFC least,
we
anything's
almost
possible.
made the playoffs.
Washington just got there with a losing record. Anything's possible. Dolphins just missed out on the playoffs with a 10-6 record. I mean, what can you say?
Sometimes 10-6, sometimes 11-5 isn't enough, you know. It's
a cruel league.
Yeah. Especially in the AFC East. The NFC East has had many, many good eras, but not now.
It will come back.
We'll see.
I don't really have anything else to say on the walkouts, to be honest, man.
I've got nothing left.
Do you want to do?
Is there anything we haven't talked about walkout wise? Like you weren't going to put on the list, but you would love to have mentioned.
I don't know. I think that here's the thing I'd say with walkouts. The UFC doesn't really give guys the kind of avenue to really do anything over the top. And I think the few times that we've seen somebody try and do something cool, it's completely fucked up. You know, if we're honest, all of our favorite walkouts are generally just good songs where the guys walk in and don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, that was pretty much all on my list. But
Izzy's the only guy that's really got away with doing anything over the top. Everyone else who's tried has looked like an idiot. And in terms of any benefit to yourself, I think as long as you're putting yourself in a good mental headspace, you're doing well. I think if you can get away with making it feel special, making it feel iconic, making it feel signature, and if you can intimidate or psych out the other guy,
unless you're T-Woods and you walk out to your own
song. I wanted to mention that. That's another foul. Anybody that ever walks out to their own music, terrible idea. I fought a guy who did that, and it didn't work out well for him.
Can you tell the longer version of that story? Because that is a very fun story.
I'm going to include it because as of training camp starting this week, I'm not going to say tomorrow because I don't want to commit myself. I'm going to keep a little video log of my training camp and post it up on the channel. And we can do a few little interviews and go into topics of discussion like that.
Fuck it, because for shame. So the guy that was sorting out the music, our friend Laurie, who we might have an interview with this week if he can record on a separate day.
I want to talk to him about some boxing. We might record it as a separate episode and add it later in the week.
So Laurie asked this guy, what do you want to walk out to? He goes, it's one of my songs. And Laurie's like, great, send it over. He goes, well, it's 8.5 minutes. And Laurie's like, I'm only going to play about a minute of that. So whatever's your best minute, just send that over. He's like, I can't shorten it down. It has to be the 8.5 minutes. And Laurie's like, yeah, that's cool. We're only going to play a minute. Sure as shit, only played about 30 seconds, you know? What a moron. Well, that's a Paddy the Baddy Pimblett scale mistake. Yeah. Just think about it. Think about it. Because we were fighting in the car park. You could start in the car park, didn't make the walk out any longer. We were already in the car park. That's where we were fighting.
Yeah.
Stupid.
We actually realized that we only had about 15. You only got like 15 seconds for your walkout.
I got less than that because the guy before me is a big Liverpool fan. And he walked out to Jerry the Pacemakers.
Yeah. And
when Laurie goes, play the next song, he turns over to the guy that's doing the music and goes, leave my fucking song on. And he did. And I walked out pretty much to the same song.
Not an intimidating guy as well, Jack. You wouldn't think that would work.
The way he said it, I voiced it back on the video. I can understand why Victor let it play. Actually, we should talk about what we walked out to.
Yeah, you picked Roots Maneuver, which is always a good choice.
So my last fight, I walked out and Cherry the Pacemakers, but it should have been, and it was for about 5 seconds. Roots Maneuver, Witness, One Hope, which is a fucking bang.
The last song I walked out to was I'll Be Surprised by Skinny Man. Fucking banging tune.
Great song. Before
that, it was All Caps by the late Mad Villain, MF2. You walked out to I'm a Bad Motherfucker by Danger Mouse?
No, and Gemini, yeah.
The Shit.
Yeah, who's the shit?
I'm the shit. That's a cool choice.
I'm a bad motherfucker. I made Mark hold out the ropes that weren't there for me.
Nice touch.
I enjoyed that one. Fun, category 3.
Yeah.
Take the fuck out of that one.
My first walkout against you was Ride of the Valkyries.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Didn't work. I didn't like it at all. No fun. Do you want to cover the news very quickly?
Do you know what? I just realised I've left off probably my all-time favourite walkout.
Okay, go on.
Ryan Darth Vader walking out to the Imperial March.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I think it was the Rage Against the Machine version as well. My friend was actually at that show.
We should have included a fun category. I know we kind of covered it with enthusiasm.
It's hard to do for MMA because it's not boxing. You know?
Yeah. We don't have Tyson Fury being carried out in the throne in the UFC. That's very safe to say.
You don't have Anthony Joshua being lowered down on the platform with fireworks going off all around him.
As mentioned before, you don't have Bernard Hopkins dressed up as a gimp waiting in the octagon whilst the YMCA dance boys come through.
You don't have Deontay Wilder losing the fight in the walkout. Why'd you wear it? Why'd you wear it then? You knew how much it weighed. It was stupid.
Also, come on, you're the heavyweight champion of the world and you can't handle a 45-pound bodysuit for 10 minutes.
I didn't even 45, I had 40 pounds.
40 pounds. My rucksack weighs that, and I carry that before we train. And I'm not the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm not.
It's probably because you keep wearing that rucksack. You know, save your legs.
Right. I'm going to move on to the news because we need to cover the news quickly. So we've had a couple of fight cancellations for the upcoming Fight Island. Fight Island 7 has lost Boom Brian Kelleher due to COVID.
No.
Yep. As well as Anthony Hernandez.
I knew that one. I think they're getting a replacement fight for Vieira, but we'll see.
I certainly hope so.
I'm excited. I'm kind of excited to see Rodolfo sort of test himself against some better opposition. So.
It's going to be an excellent fight. We'll be covering that on next week's episode ahead of the upcoming Fight Island cards. But always a shame when these fights get cancelled. Hopefully it's enough time to maybe get a couple of replacements. Talking of fights coming up on Fight Island, Chandler versus Hooker, official for UFC 257, 3-rounder.
You know, there was some talk about doing a 5-round co-main, but I think that would set a stupid precedent. I don't think that's really in the favour of fighter safety.
We also have Crute versus Walker, set for March 27th.
What happened?
What do you mean?
Wasn't that scheduled for next month?
Crute versus Walker?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. They've been talking about it. But it looks like it has been set for March 27th. It's not mentioning anything about it being moved.
I'm an idiot, so I should have researched this episode more.
Great fight. I think great opportunity for Jimmy Crute to showcase his talents.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a great matchup for Crute. Like, you know, Johnny Walker's got a bit of that Michelle Bahia in him, and I think Crute's going to stand for that. And Crute's not like a Tristan Connolly coming in here. Crute's a big old light heavyweight. So,
with submission skills as well.
Yeah, just young, hungry, and fucking well-rounded, man. That was a bad choice for Walker. I think he should have gone for like a bigger name and an easier fight.
We'll see what happens there. I think it's a bad fight for Walker. I agree. So we've got Paulo Costa is wanting an interim title shot whenever his next fight is.
Well, I heard they're trying to put it together with my boy Bobby Knuckles. So, and I think that fight makes sense.
I can understand that. I don't think make it for
not for an interim,
maybe not,
but as a title eliminator, sure. You know, he's just going to do his thing against Blachowicz. He's going to step up for that. I fully expect, win or lose, is his next fight will be middleweight. I think it's either going to be the winner of that fight, or depending on how things shake out and how much time he needs to take off, they'll arrange the winner of one of the other kind of top 5 guys that's been losing, like lost that last fight, you know, kind of like Cannonier, Till, Gastelum, Hermanson.
Yeah.
You know, if another guy can put themselves in a position where Costa or Whittaker might, I think if Whittaker wins, that's a strong case for the rematch with Izzy. I think if Costa wins, it depends on how he wins. And even if he wins well, maybe he needs to take one more fight before he justifies that rematch.
Agreed. Moving on, Volkanovski is looking to fight in March against Ortega. I think that would be an excellent fight.
Yeah. Well, that was obviously going to be the fight. I'm glad we're getting it that soon, though. You know, I was worried they might push that one back to the summer.
talking about other fights we're going to be getting soon. Usman versus Burns to headline UFC 258 on February 13th.
That's official, yeah?
That's official. And
That's
Blades
not too far away.
versus Derek Lewis rebooked for February 20th.
Nice. Okay.
So
I'm glad they rebooked that.
Good fights coming up. Quick touching on some other bits of news. UFC event Holloway versus Cater on January 16th is going to be aired on ABC. So that's public television for American audiences. That's very big news for the UFC. And this is sort of the most interesting.
They haven't been on like standard TV, like not pay-per-view since Fox, since the ESPN did.
So, and they're owned by the same people, so it's not
ESPN and ABC.
Yeah.
Okay. The way that makes a lot of sense then.
So it's all in house, and it's good business for the UFC. And finally, thing this came out a couple of days ago. Dana White has said to anybody illegally streaming UFC 257, he has a surprise for you. He actually says a surprise for the motherfuckers.
Yeah, he didn't release like a general statement. Somebody commented on one of his posts saying, I cannot wait to illegally stream this. And then Dana White replied to that guy saying something along the lines of, yeah, we have some surprises in store for you motherfuckers this year. They've always had a very aggressive policy on shutting down pirating. I've read some interesting articles of guys that were hired as investigators just to track like bars that were like illegally like showing UFC events without a license. I really don't know how much they can do, unless they make it cheaper or they put it all within a subscription service. You're never going to eliminate this. You're just not. Our MMA streams got shut down. That was a big loss. There's so many other things in its place, though. It's not like it's difficult. I don't think it ever will be.
Very true. That's pretty much most of the news that's been covered. Did you watch the boxing? Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell?
I did not. I've read about it. I love a body shot.
He looks good, Ryan Garcia. Hopefully, I'm going to be speaking about that in a little bit more detail with our boxing aficionado, Laurie, in a separate mini episode later in the week. He's a busy guy. He lives in Holland, so it's just a case of being able to work when he's free on the schedule. And then, I think next week we're going to have UFC pretty much the UFC machine back up and running. 3 cards in a week. 2 of them I think we'll be able to discuss on next week's episode.
We'll have Tom with us next week.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be young Jamie, though.
He's here right now. He just didn't want to do this episode.
He wants to do his thing, and I understand it. But we might need to find the young Jamie.
Yeah, we definitely need someone keeping us in line.
Yeah.
Someone producing us a little bit as we go.
I know.
I think Tom's going to do that. I think he's going to man up eventually.
Well, who knows? If you just keep subtly pushing him, he might eventually. He may also push back and be like, "Fuck you guys."
Maybe cut out everything you spoiled about Tenet and play it now. So if you don't want to know the ending of Tenet,
I'm going to cut it all out
and then put that back in right now, just for you, Miguel. You fucking dick.
Actually, I was going to cut out the bit that we did and just do the bit right now where we talk about the fact that, Miguel, Tenet is set in the same universe as Time Cop. Jean-Claude Van Damme appears in the after-credits scene to be the head of the sequel.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is Michael Caine, but younger.
And you know that bit? We thought you saw Jude Law in the background?
That was Jude Law.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole time they were in Jumanji in the board game.
Whilst also still in Time Cop.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams makes a CGI appearance similar to Leia in Star Wars at the end.
Because it's also in the same universe as Aladdin. They tie a lot of stuff in.
Yeah.
Really tastefully done.
In fact, it actually ties into Wonder Woman 1984 with the Wishing Stone.
I haven't seen that yet.
Please don't. It's the worst film I've seen all year. That's not saying a lot because the year's quite young.
Yeah.
But it's still the worst film I've seen all year.
Yeah, I'm still going to watch it. You know what?
Did you like Wonder Woman 1?
Yeah. I don't like all the DC films, but I watch them because, I know it's going to be shit.
I just want you to know that as your friend, I told you, I tried to warn you.
No, it's like if you go people like you watch Dear Zachary, it's going to change you as a person. That's a warning. When a film's bad, and someone's like, "Don't watch it, it's bad." I'm not an idiot. I don't get overexcited about these films. I can just literally watch anything. It's different now because I live with my girlfriend. So whatever I watch, basically she's watching as well. So it's a laborious process of having to choose something she's willing to watch. But if I'm just by myself, I will watch like 5 films a day, and I will just put on anything. It's just so easy. I love choosing films, but I don't want to spend more than 5 seconds doing it.
Nice.
And I have a great process. It works really well. I've seen a lot of cool
To be
shit.
fair, your girlfriend's willing to watch The Wire, though. That's a massive plus.
Oh, she'll watch a lot of stuff I really, really love. But it's when it's like 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm like, I'll put on Keanu Reeves' Hardball. And she's like, what's this? And I'm like, it's a fucking terrible film. She's like, put something else on. Like, what do you want to watch? I don't know. And then there's 20 minutes. I'm like, do you want to watch this? No.
Do you like the original Richard Donner Supermans?
Oh, I haven't watched them since I was a kid, but no.
Okay.
I never got behind Superman.
I don't think you'll like this one.
Superman can do everything. Like, oh, great. There's a lot of Jeopardy involved.
If you like Jeopardy, then you're not going to like this film. I warned you. Yeah, tune in next week. This episode was a bit weird. I'm going to edit this and make it a bit more streamlined. There's a lot that we can cut out, but there's also a lot of good stuff here as well.
We'll probably cut all of Tom out. He probably won't make this episode.
Yeah, I don't think he was in it, even if we didn't do any cuts.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, sorry, because you can cut that out as well.
Yeah. Just do loads of cuts and everything will work.
Yeah. Plastic surgery.
Exactly. Tune in next week.
Hasta luego.